I said, I want to do it anyway. I want to be able to do this. So eventually they gave in and they said, okay. And what they did was, you know, that pulsation state that you get into just before you go out of body.
I'm a lucid dreamer. The vibration is
that vibration state. Well, they did that, but it was so strong and got so powerful that it frightened me. And they did that on purpose because they didn't want me to be a freelance out of body.
Right.
They wanted to have control. So they did that on purpose. And I said, stop. And they said, see, we told you you wouldn't like it. So anyway, I kept playing with it though, and I kept doing it. And eventually I learned.
All right, guys, I am live here. Let's see.
I could ride it, and once I just.
I've only had a few people stop in and ask about life insurance, actual life insurance, but those were very, very cool people. I did enjoy it. I think one of the biggest lessons I learned is you have to be careful with who you work with, right?
Where you have to force your way through sleep paralysis.
No.
You know, one guy was talking about that he bought an IUL when he was 29, and it was like $350 a month, and eventually he canceled and he lost all of his money, which is unfortunate. And he met that person at a family function, so which is how it usually goes. Usually it's like a friend of the family, they come in, they say, hey, let me tell you about this great thing I got going on. And what happens is, you know, maybe the person just didn't know, right? That's also possible that the person didn't know what they were doing, because a lot of times when people come in, they're new, they're told it's all sunshine and roses, and they try to sell this stuff for people. They think they're doing something good for them without actually understanding it themselves. More than likely, the person that sold him that policy had one themselves. So, you know, I don't rush to judgment as far as when people do that. I think it's unfortunate, but I can't automatically attribute bad intent, right? But just because it wasn't bad intent doesn't mean there weren't bad outcomes, right? So what I'm doing right now, if anyone is interested, is I am going to take a look here at a quote in case there are any parents out there that want to hop on the chat. You are more than welcome to. And I can pull up a quote here. I want to do a quote for a 35-year-old man, which is the common one I do. That's the most common. Usually when you turn 35, you start looking for life insurance. Usually you have, by 35, if you're a man, you've got either 1 or 2 kids, probably like 5 and 3. I think women, their first kids is usually around 27 in the U.S., last time I checked. So I'll just look at a 35-year-old male in South Carolina in excellent health, $500,000 worth of coverage. And I'm going to do this for 30 years. And I could do it for 20 years, or I could do it for 10 years if I just wanted to show you a fantastic price, right? Here is $500,000 for 10 years. But, you know, at the end of the day, 10 years isn't enough, right? The minimum I would go with is 20. That would take this person all the way to 55. But I like to go a little bit beyond. I like to take it to the 30-year mark. I really, really do. You can also take it to the 40-year mark if you were so inclined. But I like to take it to the at least to the 30-year mark. That way you have it all the way through to retirement. Hey, welcome to the chat. How are you today? Do you have any questions about life insurance? I was just going through and recording a life insurance quote for a 35-year-old male for my personal site here, my personal agent site. But if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. Or not. You don't have to ask questions. It's fine. I'm just going over here and looking at the cost of $500,000 worth of coverage for a 35-year-old male, non-smoking, in excellent health condition. For a 30-year term, it's $33.95. And I was just saying how in the advertisements that you see, a lot of times they'll put up a price, but it's only for 10 years, right? So it just gets people to call or put their information in. Really doesn't help them out too much. The minimum I would go with a term policy if you are under the age of 50 is 20 years, just so it will take you through to retirement. You know, a lot of people are still paying off their house when they're 50, so you want to make sure you have enough of a cushion with your term policy that once it expires, you don't need it anymore, which is what it's designed to do. You hear a lot of people complain about term. Term is designed to expire. It's designed to protect people when they need it the most. That's what it's for. As far as the whole life, my recommendation for that, if you are a viewer that is looking for whole life, I would focus on getting enough for burial or cremation. I probably wouldn't go much higher. I wouldn't let them sell you on the investment aspect of it. Just focus on the burial or cremation. A lot of people out there are selling products like Index Universal Life, or they'll try to sell whole life to a person that's under the age of 65, or sometimes I've seen it as low as 30. I saw one person. Actually, I talked to a guy yesterday in the chat here when I was doing the live. I was talking to him yesterday, and somebody sold him an IUL when he was 29, which was unfortunate. But yeah, that is the quote for the 35-year-old male in excellent health condition. Say you're not in excellent health condition, maybe you've got a little bit of weight, nothing serious. Maybe you're taking a few medications and you're just very good health. That would be $39 a month. Typically, from what I've seen, most people the ages of 35 to 45 are still either in excellent health or very good health, with a few exceptions. But this is the critical period where if you don't have life insurance, I would highly recommend it. Because once you get to the age of 40, you're going to go into the doctors, see the doctors more often. They're going to strap on the rubber gloves. They're going to break out that pipe that's like this long with the camera on the end of it. So when they start looking for things, that's usually when they find stuff. It might start small, like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, maybe sleep apnea, but eventually they're going to find more and more serious conditions that could exclude you from a term life policy. And I've seen that happen a lot of times too. I've seen people who were in their 40s, early 40s, where they were diagnosed with a condition that just excluded them from term life completely. And they had young kids, they needed the coverage, but unfortunately they waited too long. That's a very sad situation. No questions. Okay. All right. Well, if you are a senior citizen, I can go over to that. Just be aware, if you're a senior citizen, most of the stuff you see online is fake. And when I say fake, I'm saying that it's designed to get your information so it can be sold and people can call you nonstop. So if you see an advertisement and it's not actually from an actual life insurance company, like Mutual of Omaha, SPLI, American Amicable, Banner, John Hancock, Foresters, etc. If you see an advertisement that's not specifically from a life insurance company, then be very, very careful with those, especially if they ask you for your phone number, your email address. More than likely, they're going to get that information and sell it. Because what they do is they generate your information. Like every time they get a person to fill out one of those forms, it's about $4 or $5 for their advertising costs. But they'll sell it for $20 to $30 depending on how much information you put in. And since there's no oversight, most of the time they sell it to multiple people, and that's why you get so many phone calls. So senior citizens, really be careful with the advertisements you see. The government is not giving away a free $25,000, $30,000, or $40,000. So if you see that advertisement, automatically skip past it. I've done several videos on that. But if anyone has any questions, or if you just want to continue to watch me, I've got dogs here too. They can do tricks. I mean, if you want that. If the life insurance is too boring, I could talk about life insurance all day, but I do have dogs here if that's something you're interested in. All right, so that is something for the parents. And my primary focus with this is to get parents life insurance. Parents who have kids under 18, that is the most important group of people that need life insurance. Hands down, there's not a close second, not even a remotely close second. Parents who have kids under the age of 18 need to have a life insurance policy in place almost all the time. The only times that I can think of would be if they weren't able to afford anything per month for a life insurance policy. That would be one example. The second example would be maybe unfortunately they were diagnosed with one of those conditions that would exclude them from the life insurance policy. Maybe they're young, they have active cancer or a couple times, something like that. Maybe they have congestive heart failure. Something major happened and they're no longer eligible for term policy. That would be the exception that I could think of where parents wouldn't need it. The only other exception I can think of why a parent who has kids under 18 shouldn't have one is if they're multimillionaires. Those are the only 3 conditions that I can think of where a parent with kids should not have a life insurance policy in place. So, still no questions, huh? I've got to work on my presentation. I've got to like come up with a full hour and assume that there are not going to be any questions. I don't know how my stand-up does this these days, but all right. So this was for the 35-year-old male, 20-year term, $25.02. That's if he's in very good health. If he's in excellent health, $19.92 for 20 years. I would recommend 30, but 20 years is still also good, as long as the kids are going to be out of the house and the mortgage is going to be paid off. You know, if he only needs it for 20 years, then 20 years would be the time to pick. Let's see, how about a female? How much do you guys think a female would cost? All right. All right, so I don't have any viewers now. All right, well. No viewers at all. Okay, well, that's fine.
Encourage them a little more, which they did. And when they did that, it got a little violent, and I remember a lot of white light shooting right at the top of my head, and they went into a scramble, and they were very excited and upset. Anyway, but it all worked out, and they got it all back under control. Whatever.
All right, so I am still live here, guys. And if there are any questions about life insurance or anything else, feel free to ask them. I go live every day to address questions. I know people have tons of questions about life insurance, but they don't want to talk to a life insurance agent because they're scared that they're going to try to push them into a product. That is not the case here. You're more than welcome to ask any questions that you have. Or do you want me to do shadow puppets? I don't know. Either way, no. Yeah, the biggest thing I would recommend as far as life insurance, one, if you have kids, get life insurance. Absolutely. That's the primary one. If you're a senior citizen, I would start with the amount of coverage that's needed for the burial or cremation. That's where I would start. I wouldn't start with 50,000, 100,000. I'd also be aware that most of the advertisements online are fake and they're designed to get your information. Let's see. What else would I look out for? I'd look out for the things that look too good to be true. Often they are not. I've seen tons of advertisements that say there's a free 25, 40,000, free $50,000 that's issued by the government. That's just not true. It's designed to get you on the phone. Yeah, another recommendation is if you see a price, if you've gotten multiple quotes from companies and the prices are pretty much the same, and then you get one quote that's significantly less expensive, really read the fine print on the one that's less expensive. I've seen this happen to so many people. There's a company out there that gives you the first month for $1, and the price looks great, but after the first year it goes up, and then the 5th year it goes up, and it cancels at the age of 80. I think it's marketed towards senior citizens, and it looks like it's whole life. All the wording looks like it's whole life, but it's just a renewable term. So be careful. I'd also recommend be careful who you work with. You know, there's some good agents out there for sure, but sometimes they're. All right. Yeah, let's see. All right, got no viewers. I guess it's boring in here, right? It's boring? Is it boring being inside? Do you guys feel bored? It might be boring in here. Might need to relocate this outside, perhaps. Let me check and see if I got any messages on Facebook or anything like that. Just to see. Let's see, do I have any messages on Facebook?
Just because I tell you to get life insurance if you have kids doesn't mean you have to get it with me. There are several life insurance agents out there. It takes 15 minutes. But if you have kids, get life insurance. Thank you. Just because I tell you to get life insurance if you have kids doesn't mean you have to get it with me. There are several life insurance agents out there. It takes 15 minutes.
Messages on
but if you have kids, get life insurance.
Good. Or bad, depending on how you look at it. Give me puppy dogs. It's not bad. I don't really have anybody stopping by, or if they do stop by, they leave almost instantly. But could be the life insurance talk. I don't know. People actively avoid life insurance for some reason. I don't understand that. I really don't get it, you know? It is something that parents need almost exclusively. You know, if they've got kids under 18, they absolutely need life insurance. You know, you've got people out there who say they love their parent or their kids, and then you see those same parents in a GoFundMe a few years later. I'm not saying they didn't love their kids, but I'm just saying that they didn't take the 15 minutes to fill out an application. I'm not saying they weren't great parents. I'm just saying they missed something. You know, and that's I think that is major. I think that's major. Let's see, get my shorts in here. Get this. Select all and copy this. All right. Save that. All right. Alright, so I got that done. Go live here. Yeah, I might be back a little bit later. I think I'm gonna try to relocate too, guys. I know it's boring in an office inside. You know, you don't want to like watch somebody inside. I could maybe try to relocate the venue and see if that helps. But yeah, I'll be back online later.